I do so many videos on this anxious and avoidant loop of doom, and often my videos are directed at the more anxious side of people. But I thought for this video, I would direct it at avoidance, because there's two situations here. Either you know that you're avoidant or you don't. So first of all, let's talk about what might indicate that maybe you have some avoidant tendencies. You find conflict really difficult. You don't want to do it. You're more likely to want to be away on your own, process things on your own. You know, this makes sense. Maybe it was easier to do that growing up than it would be to talk things through, particularly if you had unsafe people around you who shamed you, put you down, belittled you, or made fun of you if you brought up how you felt about something. Love and relationships have maybe been a bit of a tricky subject. Maybe things have gone well for a while and then suddenly they don't. Maybe you find yourself deactivating or doing things that you're not proud of, like suddenly leaving, suddenly shutting down. Maybe historically you have found yourself in arguments, conversations where you don't understand where the other person is coming from when they're bringing emotion to you. Maybe it all feels very overwhelming. And whenever emotions are brought into the conversation, you don't want to do it because it's too much. You would rather be on your own, do your own thing, decompress by yourself. And sometimes you find that this creates a bit of disconnection in relationships. So these are some of the things that might define and help you know if you maybe have avoidant tendencies. Now, there is no shame here. If you have avoidant tendencies, it's because of how you were brought up, it's because of situations that led you to survival strategies that helped you to feel safe. At the end of the day, our attachment styles are there to help us feel safe. And avoidance and anxiety are the same thing. It's really fear, okay? So let's say that maybe you've got a bit more of an idea that maybe you are avoidant. You don't have to say that you are right now. We don't have to know for sure, but maybe there's a bit of you that thinks that maybe you are, okay? And maybe someone has sent you this video to say, hey, watch this video. I think you might be avoidant. Because they've experienced you, right? They have an experience of you. And this, I think, is one of the things that people who are avoidant find difficult. Understanding that someone else might have an experience of your coping mechanisms that might really impact them. Just like other people impact you, you also have an impact on other people. And it's one of the most loving things that we can learn to do, to take responsibility for the impact that we have on the people that we love. Okay, so thank you for watching this video if you're still watching. So how do we deal with this then? If you know that you might be avoidant or you know you are avoidant, that is a massive, awesome thing because now you know, right? And this means that rather than shutting down, rather than suddenly disappearing, rather than, going silent on someone or feeling, really internally angry and not being able to talk about it, maybe you can first of all, warn the people that you're with that you have these feelings. And I know that that might be difficult at first because it might really not be what you're used to doing. It doesn't mean having a big, long conversation. All it means is simply saying, I find this quite difficult. I want to work on it. And at the moment, all I can do is tell you what happens to me internally whenever I feel overwhelmed or feel engulfed or feel like I might be losing my sense of self or something. Maybe it's a certain trigger that makes you feel like you have to shut down or disappear or go. Just start to become aware, first of all, of when this happens. This is going to give you information that will help you to communicate with the people around you, particularly in romantic relationships. The other person needs to know, because without this communication, they're going to feel like, huh? What happened? What? I don't get it. Particularly if they're more anxious. This is really triggering for someone who's anxious because they might have a real abandonment wound, right? They might have this fear of being left or fear of, being abandoned, basically, which is not necessarily as relevant today as it was back then, but the nervous system still thinks that it is. So Whoever is anxious in the relationship also has their work to do and their communication that they have to offer you to be able to say, this is what might happen to me. So it's not all on you. You're not to blame. You're not bad. You're not wrong. And either is this other person who might to you feel very sensitive, deeply feeling, over the top. They're not over the top. They're just different from you. And that's okay. One of the markers of a really, really successful relationship is when both people can learn how to be with each other's differences without making the other bad or right or wrong. There is none of that. If you can take right and wrong, bad and good out of the conversation in your relationship will so massively improve. But if you're willing to really work on this part of you that feels overwhelmed, that feels like you have to cut and run, that feels like you need to disappear, that feels like you need to shut down and not have that difficult conversation that the other person seemingly so desperately needs, right? This is such an amazing opportunity for you to feel more of what life has to offer. Because the thing is with avoidance is that it kind of numbs us a bit, you know? It really numbs your ability to connect with people, which cuts out part of the joy of life. So when you can learn to deepen your capacity for discomfort, those uncomfortable conversations, those difficult situations where you have to show up when you don't want to, when it feels odd and uncomfortable, whenever you allow yourself to be with those feelings, you also will expand your capacity for connection, love, and joy. And then you can deepen your relationships in the most profound, incredible way. You know, I've seen this before. I know that this can happen. I also know how overwhelming it is. And one of the responses that you might have to this is, I don't want to. I don't need to. I'm fine as I am. But the thing is, the question that I want to ask you is, what legacy do you want to have for the people who love you? How do you want them to feel around you? Because this is your incredible opportunity to make the people around you feel safe. And if you can start feeling safe with this discomfort, all the other people in your life are going to start to feel safe too. It's a journey. It's going to take time. And getting a therapist is going to massively help you. Just being able to talk to someone about it, you know. But I've had so many people come to me and tell me that they've suddenly realised that they're avoidant and they didn't realise that they were before. And it's like, for me, such an absolute win when someone does this, because I think, wow, that's amazing that you're taking responsibility, and like how beautiful for the people in your life. You know, I know that it can be overwhelming and maybe you're ready to do it, maybe you're not. Maybe this video is something that you'll think about later. But either way, thank you so much for watching this video. And if you want any more information about what I do, or if you want any more information about what I do, if you want to talk to me, you can find out all the information in the links below. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.